was once a man who waddled into his doctor's office with his body all swollen. The doctor asked, "Oh my word, what happened?" The man replied, "Well, I'm not too sure." After a thorough examination, the doctor hands him a box of medicine. The doctor then says, "Put one of these up your rear passageway every day and come back to see me in a week." The man thanks him and leaves. After a week, the man returns to the doctor's office, now twice as swollen as before. The doctor, in shock, then asks, "Oh my goodness, did you use the medication and put one up your rear passageway each day?" The man replied, "Yeah, I put one up my rear passage, my front passage, my kitchen, my living room. I even put one in the corridor." Hello everybody, it's Dr. Ryan here again with yet another high-yield, high-impact algorithmic approach in internal medicine. I hope that you and your family are good. Thank you once again for those of you who have been liking and sharing and subscribing to my YouTube channel. And let me just favor you with another small joke before we proceed. There was once a boy with a swollen cheek. Her mum looked at her son and asked, "What happened to me?" Tim replies, "A fly landed on my face in the garden." "Did it bite you?" asked his mum. "No, Dad killed it with a shovel," says Tim. So today we're going to be discussing the topic of peripheral edema, and this is going to be our 25th algorithm in internal medicine. Now, peripheral edema describes the presence of excess fluid in the interstitial space. Now, in order to understand edema, we have to have some understanding of the beautiful Starling forces which operate across the capillary membrane. This is taken from our beloved Guyton and Hall textbook of medical physiology. So the movement of fluid between the intravascular and interstitial space is regulated by the interplay between the hydrostatic pressure. Here, hydrostatic pressure is represented as the capillary pressure, and of course the oncotic pressure, and other factors also that play a role are capillary permeability and the lymphatic system. Now, peripheral edema can be caused by increased capillary hydrostatic pressure, decreased capillary coronary pressure, because these two act, if you think about it, right, from a conceptual perspective, what forces fluid out of the capillary has to do with the hydrostatic pressure in the capillary and the interstitial fluid coronary pressure, right? But what keeps fluid in has to do largely with the plasma coronary pressure and the interstitial fluid pressure. But these two that we see in the vessel are the two that we're going to be speaking about, the capillary hydrostatic pressure and the plasma coronary pressure. All right, so lymphatic insufficiency leads to the accumulation of proteins within the interstitial space, increasing its oncotic pressure. Increased capillary hydrostatic pressure generally results in localized dependent pitting peripheral edema. It can be uni or bilateral depending on the underlying cause. Now, decreased oncotic pressure usually results in generalized dependent pitting peripheral edema. It is frequently associated with ascites and pleural effusions. Increased interstitial oncotic pressure generally results in localized dependent non-pitting peripheral edema. It can be uni or bilateral depending on the underlying cause. Increased capillary permeability can be associated with a variety of phenotypes, including pitting or non-pitting peripheral edema with a localized or generalized distribution depending on the underlying etiology. So are you ready? I hope you're ready, man, because we're going to be going in. So peripheral edema, I said, is a result of either increased hydrostatic pressure, decreased oncotic pressure, which we can further stratify into being involving the capillary or the interstitium and permeability. So what causes increased hydrostatic pressure, you ask? I'm glad you asked, because there are 9 causes, right? Common in our clinical setting, heart failure, and yes, we will be dissecting heart failure in a different algorithm. Renal failure, we've already covered. Cirrhosis in the way of portal hypertension, okay. Deep vein thrombus, venous insufficiency, superior vena cava obstruction. All 3 of this has to do with so-called venous aetiologies. Then medications, especially calcium channel blockade, pregnancy, and constrictive pericarditis. And the hallmark of constrictive pericarditis is that it causes ascites out of keeping with peripheral edema. All right. Then if you're looking at decreased oncotic pressure, there are 6 causes here, which can be capillary or interstitial. So capillary here, we're essentially looking at 4 things that cause diminished serum albumin. Okay, so you're leaking albumin, or you're not producing enough albumin. As in liver disease, we're not producing enough. That reflects synthetic dysfunction, often accompanied by a raised INR, because one reflects synthetic function of the liver is your albumin and your INR, which is the prothrombin time. Malnutrition as well, deficiency of albumin. Nephrotic syndrome we've covered, where the hallmarks are, if you remember, proteinuria, nephrotic range over 3.5 grams per 24 hours, accompanied by ascites, hypoalbuminemia. We also said there's hypertriglyceridemia, and then there's propensity to clot, and there's a propensity for infection. Yeah, protein-losing enteropathy as well, where you are leaking albumin in your bowel. Then causes of decrease in cardiac pressure from the interstitial side is lymphedema and mixed edema. Yeah. And then, of course, there's increased capillary permeability, where we speak to local inflammation. And we all know the 5 features of inflammation, right? Rubor, calo, dolo, tumor, and functional letter. What language is that? I don't know. I think it's Greek, man. And it means basically redness, pain, warmth, swelling, and loss of function. Preeclampsia as well can cause it. Angioedema, right? Idiopathic edema and capillary leak syndrome. So if you're looking at 5 causes from the permeability aspect, 6 from the diminished cardiac pressure, 9 from increased hydrostatic pressure, giving you a whopping 20 causes of peripheral edema. So just to encourage you this morning, I'd like to quote Mr. Richard G. Scott, right? Or should I say Dr. Richard G. Scott? He was a scientist and religious leader, and he said, "Trials are not the result of your disobedience. They are evidence that the Lord feels you are prepared to grow more." Now, one of my favorite portions of scripture is taken from the book of James, chapter 1, verses 2 to 5. And this addresses trials and temptations, but I want to home into what it says about trials. It says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Now, perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." So what we can surmise from this is that if you want to be mature and complete, not lacking anything, then you have to undergo trials, because that's where you're going to grow. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow with another high impact algorithm. God bless you.